Next, we're going to talk about how to use flash with a film camera. Now, a problem a lot of people have when they start using film cameras is off-camera lighting, specifically flashes, because while your camera may have a built-in light meter that can tell you, say, how bright a park scene is, it can't measure flash in that same way. So you kind of are left sometimes guessing how bright or dark the flash should be, and you might not necessarily know what the power should be set to. Another big problem that a lot of people have is connecting a film camera with the flash itself in order to get it to fire. So today we're going to talk about those two things. The first thing that we'll talk about is how you're actually connecting your camera to the flash. Now, the easiest way and the most tried and true way is with a really long cord. Now, you can get a cord that will connect to your flash on one end and has this funny little jack on the other end. Now, if you're younger, this jack may mean nothing to you. However, it is a standard of the photo industry. Nearly every camera ever made has what's called a PC jack, and it looks like this. On 35mm SLRs, even if they have a hot shoe that can trigger like an on-camera flash, many of them also have an additional PC jack as well. On medium format film cameras, a lot of times they don't necessarily have a shoe on the top of the camera like a 35mm SLR would, and so they'll have a PC jack typically on the lens itself. So you can actually connect both of those quite easily to a modern flash. And the simplest way obviously is a cord, but that's not very practical. So for most people, they're going to use a PocketWizard. A PocketWizard is just one of many different brands of radio transmitters, and what it allows you to do is when you plug in your flash and you turn it on, you can take a cable like this 3.5mm audio jack and plug it into the sync port on the flash. You see that right here. And then you plug that into your PocketWizard, and this just gives a wireless way to trigger your flash. So then the question becomes, how do I attach this other transmitter to the analog camera, and how do I get the analog camera to talk to an electronic flash? Well, it's not as difficult as it looks. Because as we talked about earlier, that universal PC jack is also a universal thing, so thankfully you can still get cords for it. So what you can do is you can get a cord like this that goes from a 3.5mm audio jack, which is what you'll find on most modern flashes and on the PocketWizard itself, to a PC jack. And what that lets you do is that lets you take your PocketWizard transmitter and plug it into your camera like so. You can plug it directly into the lens, and then when you take a photo, it'll trigger the flash. Now, in another video, I talked about the Hasselblad accessory shoe, and this is where that really becomes important if you're using a medium format camera like this. So you would put the PocketWizard into the shoe, and that'll just hold it on your camera for you, and then that'll wirelessly trigger your flash. Now, we're going to come back to one of the two things we're talking about today. We now know how to wirelessly connect a film camera with a flash, and we're all good with that, but we don't necessarily know how bright it's going to be. And if you use a camera with a built-in meter, this can be a challenge. Now, a purchase many film shooters make in the beginning is an external meter of some kind, and there are a variety of them, from very small ones like this to more advanced ones like this. Now, some of these larger, more advanced ones, and even some of the small ones as well, will have a PC socket on the meter itself. And what that lets you do is it lets you take that PocketWizard, and instead of plugging it into your camera, you can plug it into the meter itself. We're going to put it in the flash mode, and then we can take a test meter reading with the flash. And because the meter triggered the flash, it gives me my exposure of a 200th of a second at f10. Now, depending on which kind of meter you buy, some of them, like this Seikonic, actually have a PocketWizard built into them. So this one has an additional mode where I don't even need this, and I can trigger my flash like so. This is very, very useful when you're doing film photography because you can leave your PocketWizard transmitter on the camera, and then you can also trigger the flash like this. Otherwise, if you're using a smaller model, you might have to disconnect the PocketWizard from your camera and kind of go back and forth like that. However, it doesn't have to be daunting to use flash with film cameras. You just need some very simple tools to help you get the job done.